What up, guys? Gangspranks are back with a brand new video, and today we are here with a little something different. Typically for figure videos, obviously I'm showing off my monthly purchases and stuff like that, but I thought this would be a fun thing to do, where this video is basically going to be my kind of want list for what I want to see in 2023. Things that I think could happen and things I'd like to see happen. Some of these are kind of selfish, where it's like, okay, I would personally like to see this figure company release this character. But I think for the most part, all of this is kind of realistic stuff. So all the wants and asks for the figures are based on stuff that I collect. And that comes down to 8 different collections. If you're not familiar, you've never seen my monthly pickup figure videos, I would say go check it out. Those are fun, or I enjoy the figure videos a lot, to be honest. Like I said, it's just been like a passion of mine for so long, just collecting stuff like that, and to kind of share it and incorporate it in my content. I've been having a blast with it, to be honest, and just sharing it, so I'm really enjoying that. So, real quick, I'm just going to quickly go through the different collections I collect. And then we'll kind of break down each one and what I'd like to see said company release for these figure lines. So I collect 8 different figure lines. So in no particular order, I collect Marvel Legends. I collect McFarlane's DC Multiverse. I collect TMNT figures, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but only the best action line. I collect Power Rangers Lightning Collection. I collect Transformers characters, but only the Beast Wars ones. I collect wrestling figures. I collect Dragon Ball, S.H.Figuarts, and last but not least, I collect video game characters. Typically, characters from video games I played and really like, but more recently, it's been kind of cool video game characters and them in action figure form that I just think turned out cool. So, without further ado, what should we start with? What do I want to see first? Let's start out with a biggie. Let's start out with Marvel Legends. What would I like to see from Marvel Legends in 2023? How did I think they did in 2022? I think they did all right. From what I've seen, honestly, this will be like a full year. I really started collecting Marvel Legends. It was December of 2021. And I got into Marvel Legends again. I really love Spider-Man. Let me create a little Spider-Man collection that's kind of evolved into so much more. So as far as 2022 was like my first real year of experiencing Marvel Legends again. I used to collect Marvel Legends way back in the day when it was that big, bulky, sharp box, and I'd slice my fingers open trying to get inside of it. Kind of keeping up with it again. It's a lot of fun. I like the Marvel Legends line. Characters that I grew up reading and watching, cartoons and stuff, playing in video games, and seeing them come out in figure form. It's really cool. So I've really enjoyed 2022. It's kind of been my first official year. It's kind of been a year at this point, almost to the day that I'm recording this. So it's really cool. So like I said, this has been like my first full year, and I don't really have any complaints that I can think of regarding anything that came out in 2022. I haven't had any particular issues with the plastic-free packaging. I know some people have missing parts, paint apps, different stuff like that. That's just kind of going to be the evolution of the toy business, I believe, where they're just going to phase out plastic and either have kind of what they have now, where it's just completely encased, or there's other figure lines where the plastic window would be, they just have nothing there and the figure is kind of exposed. Personally, I'm not a fan of that. I would like to see what the figure is like before I do buy it, but I don't want it to be exposed, just open like that. Especially, and stuff like that with the open boxes, it's kind of transitioned me more into shopping more online, because I don't want to buy this shit in store and risking someone, like, especially the plastic-free packaging stuff, someone opened it. Like, I always double check the tape, but you never know. Like, these guys are professional scam artists. Go in, take whatever the fuck they want, put in something else, and call it a day. So I don't really trust shopping online. That's made me transition more into shopping in store and transitioning more to shopping online. Anyways, I digress. So anyways, Marvel Legends, I don't really have any complaints, just a couple requests, couple characters that I'd like to see come out, and I think all of them are kind of possible. I don't think anything's kind of out of the realm of possibilities. The first one being the first character that I'd like to see, and I think we could possibly see it in the coming year, would be Angel from the X-Men. Just a plain old Angel. The only Angel figure right now that they've released is the Archangel version, where he's the Horseman of Death for Apocalypse. It's a cool figure, but me personally, I would like just a plain looking Angel, and I'll put up a picture of, the kind of attire that I'd like him to have. But yeah, with this next year being the 60th anniversary of X-Men, I think this is a possibility that we could get just a kind of basic looking Angel, and that is something that I'd like to grab for my X-Men collection. Next, I would like to see a comics-accurate Guardians of the Galaxy. They did announce one as a Walmart exclusive, a Star-Lord. Don't even remember what it looks like. I didn't really pay attention. Usually when they announce store exclusives, I'm just kind of like, fuck me. They're just so hard to get. So I kind of just throw them in the void, and eventually I might cross paths with them. But for the most part, when it's announced as a store exclusive, I just kind of write it off and forget about it. It is a more comics accurate Star-Lord, but I'd like to see the whole gang. Drax, Rocket, Groot, Nebula. Nebula is not really part of the team. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the characters besides the movie, but for me, I don't collect MCU figures, and for Guardians of the Galaxy, there's a bunch of MCU figures for the Guardians, but for me personally, I like to collect based on the comic version. Actually, I changed my answer. Now that I just thought about it, a comics accurate Guardians of the Galaxy, that would be cool too. But so let me backtrack to what I was saying. So I collect based on the cartoon shows like the X-Men and Spider-Man stuff. I collect based on the comic looks, and I also collect based on the video games. And what just popped in my head as I'm reading this, I'm like, there was a Guardians of the Galaxy game that just came out. We've gotten some figures from the Marvel Spider-Man game that came out a few years ago, and we're still getting a couple figures coming from that. I would like to see the figures from the Guardians of the Galaxy game. I think that would be cool. Where it's kind of semi-based on the MCU, but it's not the MCU figures. Or, honestly, I would take some comic accurate Guardians of the Galaxy. Either that or based on the game. Either or I think would be fine. But just I would like a Guardians of the Galaxy that's not based on the MCU. So that's something I think that could be happening, because obviously we have Guardians of the Galaxy 3 coming out next year. So they're going to obviously do the MCU figures for that. But I would like to kind of see them throw out some more comic accurate or even based on the video game, Guardians of the Galaxy. And then the last one, that this would probably be at the top of my list. There's actually two, but I kind of scratched them off because we got a figure of him somewhat recently. I'll talk about him in a second. But my other want, I would say it's my biggest want from Marvel Legends. I would say Angel's number 2, this other person's number 1, and that would be a animated series Chameleon. Chameleon is, I wouldn't say he's the coolest character, but he's kind of one of Spidey's biggest villains. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but I believe Chameleon was the villain in the first ever issue of Spider-Man. So he's been around for quite some time, and he's only got one figure in the Marvel Legends line, and it's not the greatest. I mean, it is kind of faithful to him, where he's a spy, and he puts on the different masks and stuff like that. And I get that, but for me personally, when I think Chameleon, I think of the animated series look from the Spider-Man animated series, where he's got that purple suit, he touches his belt buckle and he swaps to whoever, J. Jonah, Peter Parker, Alistair Smite, whoever the case may be. I would like a figure based on that, and on a retro card, if possible. I'd also like that Angel on a retro card, just because I'm a big fan of the retro carding for the figures. I just think it's so cool. Yeah, Chameleon's kind of at the top of my list. The other one that I was going to mention was Doc Ock. I would like a Doc Ock based on the animated show, and with bendy wire tentacles. But we just got a Doc Ock somewhat recently, where he came in a 2-pack with Silk. So I'm like, they might wait a little bit before they release another Doc Ock. So I would like a Doc Ock as well, but I can kind of wait on him a little bit. But Chameleon, I think he's due for an upgrade. And based on that look, my personal opinion, my personal preference of his look, I think it would be cool. And especially on a retro card, it'd be fucking gorgeous So he's like one of the last big Spider-Man villains that's due for kind of an upgrade, especially in the animated series look. So actually, that could happen with. I totally forgot that the Spider-Man VHS. Obviously, they're doing the X-Men VHS line. They said they're going to pause that and jump into the Spider-Man animated series, and they're going to do VHS figures based on that. So Chameleon is actually potentially likely. If Hasbro's listening, if you could like push that up in the line, like in the queue of figures, that'd be super awesome for me personally. I know they're listening, but they pretend like they don't. I'm like, hey Hasbro, and they completely ignore me. It's fine. So yeah, those would be my 3 wants: Angel, comic accurate Angel, comic accurate Guardians of the Galaxy, or based on the video game, and a animated series Chameleon. So those would be my real wants. Other than that, I can't really think of anything. The Marvel Legends team, they're pretty good about bringing us new characters consistently, because I feel like every week there's like a small announcement of a new figure. Like I just saw today, they just announced Franklin from the Fantastic Four. He's Reed Richards and Sue Storm's son. They announced a figure for him. The week before that, they announced the Ronin the Accuser, who's, kind of closely tied to the Guardians of the Galaxy. So it just feels like they have like a fan stream, like I'd say every month and a half, 2 months, but they're constantly revealing stuff. So my want list for Marvel Legends is not too high, because they're knocking out of the park. They're doing characters that are obscure. Like that upcoming X-Men line looks super dope with the Chamber, Emma Frost, and stuff like that. That looks awesome. Obviously, you have the X-Men 5-pack for the villains. That's really cool. And they're really touching on like obscure characters. And obviously, they do the re-releases for characters that are big. The new Avengers wave that's coming out. They do a different Iron Man, do a different Captain America. And as long as it's different, that's cool. And it's not just like, some of it's kind of a repaint, but you know what I mean. They're pretty good about constantly including characters that have never been in the line. So those are my only real wants from Marvel Legends. Other than that, I think they're absolutely doing a fantastic job on touching on a bunch of different characters from Marvel Universe. And the last thing I have here for Marvel Legends is possibly another HasLabs ? Obviously, the HasLabs that they did this year was the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider, and that was a whole shit show. It was nice to be a part of it. It was my first HasLabs. And it just went up in flames. Pun intended? No pun intended? I don't know. Because Ghost Rider's, all flames. But with the 60th anniversary of X-Men, could they be doing an X-Men related HasLabs? Now, they already did an X-Men related HasLabs. The first HasLabs they did, the Sentinel one. Obviously, Sentinels are part of X-Men. The second HasLabs was the Sentinel, which came out somewhat recently. And then the third one they did was based on Ghost Rider. So I don't know if they want to go back to X-Men. I don't really know any ideas like what they could do for the HasLab. Now, obviously, the first two HasLabs, the Sentinel and Galactus, big figures, gigantic figures, kind of warrants some crowdsourcing to really bring that to life with all the little gizmos that they've attached to it. And then in the newest HasLab, where it's more, there's nothing really gigantic, nothing larger than life. It was just kind of a basic set of figures. So they could go small for the next HasLab, but just a couple things that I have written down here. They're more X-Men related, but I would be fine if they didn't go X-Men related. So I have Apocalypse with the 4 Horsemen, so it'd basically be a gigantic Apocalypse. However tall probably as tall as the Sentinel, maybe slightly taller. I would say smaller than Galactus, but bigger than the Sentinel. I'm not sure the sizes on those. I think Galactus is like 32 inches or something like that, if I remember correctly. And the Sentinel, I believe, is 26 inches. Could be wrong on both of those, but the Sentinel is the Galactus is definitely bigger than the Sentinel. And I think Apocalypse, slightly smaller than Galactus would be good. And then him coming with the 4 Horsemen: Death, Pestilence, War, and Famine. I can't believe I listed all those. I thought I was going to fuck it up for sure. And as far as like goals and stuff, I don't know who or what you would include. Maybe accessories for each of them. Maybe throw in another figure that's kind of tied to Apocalypse. Maybe a Kid Apocalypse. Like, that character's somewhat new. I believe his name Kid Apocalypse, something like that. In the past few years, there's been another Apocalypse character in the X-Men comics where he's kind of like a young kid. So maybe that could be a potential goal as well. But I think, a gigantic Apocalypse would be really cool. And obviously with the 4 Horsemen and what other stuff, I don't know. But I can see that happening. I don't know if it'd get funded. I don't know if people would be down for that. But this is just, I'm just spitballing ideas. The other two, I don't know if people would fund this, but I wrote down a Danger Room, kind of a diorama. Just a little setup for the X-Men Danger Room. I don't know if anybody would want like a kind of play set like that. And then the other one I have written down is a vehicle, and that would be the X-Men's Blackbird. I think that could be cool, but again, I don't know what you would do with the goals. Would you add characters? Would you add attachments to the Blackbird? What incentives are you going to give for people to buy the Blackbird? Besides, catering to X-Men fans that could potentially want one. I don't know. What do you think should be the next Marvel Legends HasLabs? Let me know in the comments section. What ideas do you have? Or if you have any ideas for the ones that I mentioned, some goals that they could achieve, let me know. But yeah, that would be it for Marvel Legends. Not too much. I think everything else besides one is like just a few items. To that one next would be the TMNT Best Action line. I'm not the biggest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. I've said that time and time again. I love the movies, watched them as a kid, but I never really watched the cartoons or video games. I played some of the video games, but the cartoons, that's what they're really known for. Never really watched any of them. But I do like this Best Action line for the TMNT, and I think they did a pretty good job this year. I believe this was their first year of production, where they released all 4 Turtles, and then they gave Wave 2, which was Shredder, Bebop, Foot Soldier, and Casey Jones. And they have Wave 3 announced, which is Krang, Rocksteady, I don't recall, but I know those are the next characters that are supposed to be coming out. And basically what I want from this line is just more characters. What they've resorted to somewhat recently is just kind of doing the Turtles in different attires, like a street attire, kind of retro looking stuff where they gave it a paint upgrade or a different paint app. What I'd like to see going into 2023, I'd just like to see more characters. Give me April, give me Splinter, give me Karai, Baxter Stockman, Slash, Rat King, Token Razor, etc. There's so many cool characters in the TMNT line. I'd like to see them explore them more instead of doing constant repaints of the Turtles. Now that might be a hot seller, and that's why they keep doing it, is people are buying it. But for me personally, I already have my set of Turtles. I kind of want to move forward, kind of building out that whole universe. So I'd just like to see them do less Turtles and more unique characters. That would basically be my want list for that. Just less re-releases and more different characters. Now, I think Loyal Subjects is somewhat of a small company. I'm not sure their output on figures. They're definitely not as big as like a Hasbro, who just pumps out figures consistently. For a smaller company, I think they're doing all right. They've got a pretty decent catalog for a line that's somewhat new. Now, basically, it is mainly re-releases, but some of them are new sculpts and stuff, so that's cool. But yeah, just more characters. That's all I want. More characters. Next, video game characters. What would I like to see? I'd like to see a couple things. First one, I would like to see... now, McFarlane has their Mortal Kombat line. And I've been tempted a few times to jump into that. Because I like Mortal Kombat and I like a lot of those characters. But when I look at the McFarlane's Mortal Kombat line, I constantly see the same figures done. Now, usually what they'll do is they'll release one figure. We'll say Liu Kang, for example. And then they'll kind of do like... different costumes for Liu Kang, and they've done that for multiple characters. Noob Saibot, Baraka, where they'll release the base character, but then they'll do a repaint. They might add blood to it. They might add a different costume, different color wave, and I want to collect it, but there's just too many re-releases. Kind of like the TMNT Best Action line. Way too many fucking re-releases. Stop giving me the same fucking figures. Mortal Kombat's got such a great roster of characters, and the fact you keep redoing the same ones is super infuriating. Another thing I'm not a fan of this line is how many times we've gotten Spawn. You have a Spawn line already. Why are you doing so many Spawn figures in a fucking Mortal Kombat line? So, for 2023, what I'd like to see, less Spawn figures in the Mortal Kombat line, less repaints, more unique characters. There's so many characters they haven't even touched on. Kano, Jax, Sonya Blade. I believe none of those have been created. Just focus on Mortal Kombat characters in the Mortal Kombat line. I would love to collect these figures, but I want to know that they're committed to actually producing Mortal Kombat figures and Mortal Kombat characters. So that's why I haven't done it so far, but if they can give me more Mortal Kombat characters, I would happily buy it and support this line. Another video game I'd like to see figures for would be Overwatch 2. I'm a big Overwatch fan. I have most of the ones that Hasbro. Hasbro did the original Overwatch figures. And I don't believe they were very successful, so they ended up canceling the line. Obviously, since that time, it's been a few years since they've released, the Overwatch figures. A lot of characters have come out. We're in a second game with more characters there. Overwatch 2 is kind of hot right now, so I'd like to possibly see I would like to see Hasbro do it, so it's kind of in line with the figures that they've produced before, but I would like to see some more Overwatch figures, and I think the sooner the better. Strike while the iron's hot. Overwatch is still probably one of the most popular games out at the moment, so the sooner the better. But the turnaround for these figures are usually like a year from now, and who knows if Overwatch will be as hot as it kind of is now. It's not the hottest game, but I'd say out of the top 5 most played games at the moment, I would say it's in the top 5. So yeah, I'd like to see more Overwatch characters. Not necessarily the new characters like Junker Queen, Sojourn, who's the other one? Ramatra. Who's the other character? There's another one. Kiriko. Obviously, I'd like to see those new characters, but I'd also like to see the characters that they never did. Roadhog, Bastion, Diva. Diva would be very interesting to see, because how are you going to do the mech suit? Are you just going to do the mech suit? Forget the little girl? Can she come out? Would that be separate? I don't know. That's something I'd like to see. I'd like to see Hasbro do more Overwatch characters. Next, I'd like to see some more Crash Bandicoot figures. Now, in 2022, I was shopping one day at Walmart, and I saw these Crash Bandicoot figures on the shelf, and I'm like, holy shit, those are cool. They're from a small company called Head Start. So far, I've only seen one wave, and it's one wave, and it consists of 5 characters. So it consists of regular Crash Bandicoot in a biker jacket, another Crash Bandicoot called Retro Crash, which I think is based on Crash Bandicoot 4, and then we have Dr. Neo Cortex and Coco Bandicoot. And it's really cool. I bought the whole wave 1, but because I haven't seen wave 2 or anything like that, I'm kind of worried that the line is potentially canceled, and that'd be unfortunate, but I would hope they would. I'd like to see a wave 2 and more, because I do like Crash Bandicoot, and I would like to see them produce more Crash Bandicoot figures. Obviously, I'd like to see more characters, because how you can have 3 Crash Bandicoots in one wave, that's kind of crazy, Maybe that's why the line failed. Maybe because you do too many of one character. I love Crash Bandicoot, but I don't need 3 Crash Bandicoots in wave 1. That's insane. Even McFarlane, who pumps out so many Batman figures, would not put out 3 Batman characters in one wave. That's insanity. Spread them out. Maybe do 2 in a wave. 3, I think, was a bit overkill. Like I said, I don't know if the line is canceled or not, but I'm hoping that it's not, and I would like to see a wave 2. I want to see Tiny Tiger, Dingo Dial, Engine. You name it, I want to see it. So I hope they're coming out with some more stuff. Next, World of Nintendo. So Nintendo pumps out these characters. I think they're done by Jakks Pacific. And basically they'll do a line, and I think it's like 4, 5, 6 figures in a wave. And it's just random characters. Obviously, you've got a Mario in some different costume. Maybe he's in his Fireball costume. Maybe he's in the raccoon thing. I don't know what it's called. I think it starts with a K. Whatever. They've done a ton of Marios and stuff like that. But a character that I would like to see, 2 characters I would like to see. I believe they've come out before. But if you're fucking doing a ton of Mario character or a ton of Marios, why not re-release these characters? Because I think they're some of the coolest. I'd like to see them do a Wario and a Waluigi. I'm a big Wario and Waluigi fan. I think they're cool. I think they're absolutely underutilized by Nintendo, who obviously likes to focus on Mario. That's fine. But you got all these other cool characters that you can make money with, whether it be in video games. You know, like you have a Luigi's Mansion, you can do a Wario and Luigi game. I think that would be successful, but I think they're really worried about pulling the trigger on that, where it's like, oh, you know, it doesn't have Mario, so it's probably not going to be successful. And I think they got to kind of ease up on the Mario stuff. Rely on your other characters. You got a lot of other cool characters in your universe, in your catalog. Utilize them more. And me personally, like I said, I love Wario. I love Waluigi. I would love to get figures of them. And obviously in the World of Nintendo line. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Super Mario figures coming out next year, because obviously they have the movie coming out. So not only are you going to have the World of Nintendo line, but then you're going to have movie figures, which is just basically going to be more Mario. And that's cool. Those are going to sell. People are going to buy it. But for me personally, I'd like to see Wario and Waluigi. And Diddy Kong. Give me a Diddy Kong too. Big Diddy Kong guy. Give me those 3. Those 3, and I'll be a happy camper. Because it is called World of Nintendo, not Super Mario World. Think about it. I'd like to see a company do a Street Fighter line. I think that'd be cool. Storm Collectibles is doing some Street Fighter stuff, but those figures are just so fucking expensive. I'd like to, maybe like a McFarlane type company, where they can release a more reasonable figure, where it's like a nice detailed figure. Sell it to me for like $30, whatever, and give me some Street Fighter characters. I think that would be fun, because the Storm Collectible ones are like over $100 each. And I don't believe they come out too often. So if they can have another company produce some Street Fighter figures, I think that'd be cool. Other than that, I can't really think of any other video game that I would like to see. Actually, maybe if Sony produced a line of figures where it's kind of like World Nintendo, but it'd be like World of Sony, or Sony Universe, whatever you want to call it. And they have like small waves, let's say 4 figures each, and you just release characters from your library. Give us a Toomba, give us a Spyro. Well, they don't own Spyro anymore. Activision owns Spyro. Nathan Drake, Kratos, Killzone, give me a Hellgast from there. Twisted Metal, Sweet Tooth. I think that could be dope. I would like to see Sony do that. Work with a company, a reputable company. Let's get a World of Sony going on. And you'd start pumping out some merchandise for some of these characters that people love. And I think that could be pretty successful if Sony were to take that route. Because honestly, there's not too much merchandise for figures of Sony characters, right? So I think that's a market that they can kind of jump into for 2023. I don't know if that'll happen. Probably not. But I think that'd be another one, Ratchet and Clank. That one just popped in my head. But I think that'd be a really cool thing if Sony explored that. I think there's a lot of money on the table that they're missing out on, in my opinion. I think that'd be cool. Next, Transformers Beast Wars. Remember Beast Wars? Only collect the Beast Wars line. And I think this is going to be a big year for Beast Wars, in a sense. Obviously, you've got Rise of the Beast coming out next year, and there's going to be a ton of movie figures coming out with that, and that's cool. But for me personally, I don't collect movie figures. I don't collect MCU figures. If DC were to put out some multiverse line of characters from a movie, I'm not going to buy it. Like the Black Adam one that just came out, Black Adam Wave. I'm not going to buy any of those. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in movie figures. Unless it's a really cool character. I don't want to say never. very, 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 very high chance I don't buy it. So I want more. I want the retro carded stuff. I want it I want it in the legacy line too. I would just like more Beast Wars figures in general. And I don't know if they're gonna want to have competing stuff, because obviously they're going to want people to buy the Rise of the Beast figures because that's what's new and that correlates with the movie. And then if you have kind of competing Beast Wars figures where it's like, okay, we're going to accompany this with more retro figures, I don't know if they'd want that. But I don't know. Either way, they're going to make money, you know? So I just want to see more Beast Wars figures. Let's say they do a fan stream tomorrow. They might announce one character that's like from the Beast Wars line. They don't really show it too love, and show it too much love. And I think this is a perfect opportunity this year. Let's go hard with the Beast Wars. Let's take advantage of the movie coming out. Let's build upon people's nostalgia. Let's release some more Beast Wars figures. I don't really have any characters in particular that I like. I did write down that they can do the characters from the comics. There was a comic that came out, I think it's 2 years ago now, and it was I don't know if it's canon with the show or if it's different, but they had a Beast Wars comic going on. It ended somewhat recently, and they did announce, have a few brand new characters in that. They had a character called Nyx, who was on the Maximals. I believe it was a girl, and she was a fruit bat. They had another character called Razor Beast, who I believe has had a figure before in the Beast Wars line. But he was a boar, but he had, some backstory in this. And then as far as the Predacons, the new character that they announced in there was Scold, and he was an alligator snapping turtle. So I'd like to see them do figures of those. And like I said, I just want more Beast Wars characters. Fuck it, make brand new characters. You don't have to rely on re-releasing the old retro figures. Like, that's cool too, and I like being able to get a chance at getting those figures again. But hey, fucking make some new characters. There was never a giraffe. Make a giraffe. Make it turn into some character. A hippopotamus, penguin. Take all these cool animals. Just make brand new characters. I just want more Beast Wars. Because I do feel like it's quite neglected. And like I said, if there's gonna be a time that they do Beast Wars characters, it's gonna be next year. If they don't, I'm kind of gonna be disappointed that they're not going full bore with the Beast Wars figures. Like I said, I think there's money on the table that they can take. And what I mean by that is, like, there's a briefcase of money that I think could be theirs, where I think there's a want for this. I think there's people that want more Beast Wars characters. Obviously, for Transformers, people want the vehicles. They want the cars, motorcycles, jets, spaceships, boats, whatever. But there's definitely, it's not a big community, but there's definitely a community out there that do like the Beast Wars characters. And I'm one of them. So I just want more Beast Wars. Like I said, new characters, cool. Give me those characters based on the comic books. I think that would be fun. And just more. Just more. That's all I really want. Just give me more. And I hope the movie's good too. I hope it's successful and it kind of reinvigorates Beast Wars as a whole. Because, we just had the Beast Wars brought back in the show with the War for Cybertron trilogy on Netflix. They had the Beast Wars characters in there. And then we're going to get Rise of the Beasts. So could we possibly be seeing more Beast Wars in our future? I hope so. Fingers crossed. Please. Next, we're going to talk about some Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts. I was going through all the characters that haven't been created into figures, and there's some on this list that I'm kind of shocked about, and there's some, like I said, selfish. When I mentioned earlier selfish, where it's like, okay, I know this might not be successful or it might not do well business wise, people might not be clamoring for this character, this would be more of a selfish one for me. There's a couple on this list. So as far as characters I'd like to see S.H.Figuarts produce from Dragon Ball this coming year is as follows. I'm really surprised they have not done a Goten. I feel like that's an easy one they can pop out, but they've never done it. So I'd like to see Goten come out. Kid Trunks is another one that hasn't been released. I think that could be an easy one for them as well. Yamcha. There is a Yamcha figure, but for me, when I think of Yamcha, obviously he's got the long hair, but I liked when he had the short hair. when he was, I think it was during the Frieza stuff, or was it after that? Maybe it was the Android stuff, but he got a haircut and he's got this short hair, and I always thought that was a badass look for Yamcha. And I don't think anybody wants a fucking another Yamcha figure, but for me personally, Yamcha with short hair, I think would be awesome. Got the short hair, got the scar on the face. He's just a badass character. Even though he is weak as shit and dies at every opportunity, you sneeze on him, he's dead. He gets blown away like it's nothing. He's just fucking cannon fodder for the next villain that comes out. But Yamcha with short hair, I would like to see that. But that would probably be at the bottom of the list compared to everything else I'm going to talk about. Next, Deborah. I think that could be a fun one. You know, cool looking character. He looks like Satan. He's from the Majin Buu saga. And we've gotten a lot of Majin Buu figures. I don't believe there's a Babidi, which would be cool as well. I don't know if you'd pack him with the Deborah and do kind of like a 2-pack. But I would like to see Deborah because I think he is a cool looking character. Next, this is a selfish one. And people might not even know him. He's kind of on the lower list of Dragon Ball characters. It'd be Yajirobe. Yajirobe, he was very prominent in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. His biggest claim to fame, from what I remember, is when he cut off Vegeta's tail. During the Vegeta saga, Vegeta turned into the big great ape, and then Yajirobe cut his tail off and kind of saved the day. And other than that, I don't recall him doing anything else of prominence. And he's kind of just fallen off the radar. I believe, I really can't remember him doing something else after cutting Vegeta. That's his biggest thing. He's probably done some other stuff, but when I think Yajirobe, I think him cutting the tail of Vegeta. I think that would be a cool figure. I don't know how many people are wanting a Yajirobe figure. Probably like the old school Dragon Ball Z fans, like the early ones. Because I think like anybody who joined after, like Frieza and later, probably doesn't even know who this character is. And some of you at home listening to this, you probably got to look up who this character is. Don't worry, I'll put up pictures for everything that I talk about on the screen. But you might have to do your research. Like, Yajirobe, who the fuck is that? I would like that one. That one's more of a selfish one. Another one, the next one that I'd like to see. This one I think would be a really cool one. I think it'd be quite successful. I think people would want it. King Kai. And not just King Kai. I think King Kai would be cool. But he would have to come with Bubbles, the monkey. I remember that episode where Goku has to chase Bubbles around King Kai's planet and he can't catch the stupid monkey, and then eventually he does. Awesome episode, complete filler episode, but that's one of the stupider episodes where I remember it and I really enjoy it. So King Kai, he's one of my favorites, to be honest. Hey Goku, he's just awesome. I really like him a lot. And Bubbles the monkey, so I can recreate that Goku chasing Bubbles scene. I love that. I love that a lot. One of my favorite episodes. Next, we're going way back in the day. So all the characters I just talked about are Dragon Ball Z related. These next characters are Dragon Ball. So people might not even be familiar with that. So for the Dragon Ball line or series, so there was the original series, Dragon Ball, where Goku was a kid, and then it evolved into Dragon Ball Z, and then GT, and then Super, which I believe ruins the canon of GT, and GT is like no longer canon. I'm not too sure about all that. I haven't really gotten to Super. I hated GT from the little bit that I watched, so I kind of block it out of my memory. When I think Dragon Ball, I think Dragon Ball the original and Dragon Ball Z. So, the original Dragon Ball. I remember, as a kid, I would watch Dragon Ball at like 5 in the morning. So I was a super young kid. My mom would have to go to work, and she would wake me up early because she should have to drop me off at a babysitter. And I remember one morning, I remember like it's yesterday, I would watch the shit out of Dragon Ball, but there's one in particular. I remember I'm up, it's like 5:30 in the morning. My mom's getting ready. I'm just sitting on the couch waiting for us to walk out the door. And I just remember watching Dragon Ball and seeing Emperor Pilaf. And I absolutely love him. I love his design. He's a cute little bastard. I don't remember what his voice sounds like or anything like that, but I just remember he always looked cool. Like, he looked funny. He looks like a little goblin. He's got his cute little hat, his cute little jester type uniform. He's just really adorable. And I really like Emperor Pilaf. And I also like his little goons, Shu and Mai. I would like them separately. I'd like Emperor Pilaf as one, and then do like a 2-pack of Shu and Mai. I think that'd be cool. But yeah, Emperor Pilaf, that's a big selfish want for me. I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody in the world that would want it. Probably. But for me personally, I would love an Emperor Pilaf figure. I don't know if we'll ever get one. S.H.Figuarts, if you're listening. Probably not, but if you are, what's up? If you can make an Emperor Pilaf figure for me, that would be absolutely incredible. And I would buy like 10. I'd buy 2, because the figures are expensive. They're like fucking $80 each. I was going to say I'd buy 10. And it's like, I did the math in my head. I'm like, you know what? Maybe 10's not good. Maybe 2. But yeah, I'd love an Emperor Pilaf figure. Please. Like, I would fucking love this. Can we crowdsource it? Do something. Just give me an Emperor Pilaf figure. That'd be so cool. Yeah, those are my wants for Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts. That's what I'd like to see come out in 2023. I think some of them are likely. I think the most likely one on the list is probably like Goten or Kid Trunks. I think everybody else would be not their first priority in producing. So I'd like to see them all eventually, but if they can come out next year, that'd be pretty cool. Next, we are jumping into McFarlane's DC Multiverse. What do I want to see from McFarlane in their DC Multiverse? So we already talked about McFarlane earlier and the Mortal Kombat line and my wants from that. I actually have a big want list here for McFarlane because, look, Todd, Godfather Todd, whatever the fuck people call you, creator of Spawn, I like your figures a lot. They're really cool. But if you can tone down a little bit of the Batman, that'd be sick. Like, there's so many cool characters. I'm not even the biggest DC fan, but there are so many cool characters that they have not touched at all. That is kind of mind-blowing. Like, the top of my list here, I would like a Wonder Woman figure. Just a classic-looking comics Wonder Woman. Like, that's at the top of my list. Like, how has Wonder Woman not had a figure? Like, there's been a couple Wonder Woman figures released, but there was the one from the movie. There was one... Most of the Wonder Woman figures that they've released have been, like, from different story comics. Like, we haven't had a classic-looking Wonder Woman. And that would be at the top of my list. We got Superman. We got Batman. Let's finish off that little trinity of DC. Give us a classic-looking Wonder Woman, please. So that would be the number one want I would want from McFarlane. Other characters I'd like to see come out next year. Firestorm. I think that'd be a cool one. How do we get Deathstorm before Firestorm? That blows my mind. How do we get a Black Lantern Firestorm before a regular Firestorm? What the fuck? That's weird. That is honestly the strange one to me. I think a Firestorm figure would be awesome. Next, Cyborg. There's been a couple Cyborgs. There was one for the Justice League movie. There was one for the Teen Titans animated show. Comic-based Cyborg would be cool. A couple other characters. Hawkman. I'd like to see him. Hawkgirl. Obviously, we just had a Hawkman with the Black Adam line. But like I said, I don't collect movie figures. Black Canary. We've had a couple Green Arrows. Let's get a Black Canary to join them. And last I have on this list is Zatanna. I think that'd be cool. They got Deadman coming out. You got Swamp Thing out. You got a John Constantine. I believe that's kind of a couple members of the Justice League Dark. I'm not too familiar with them. But Zatanna is another big character who I'm surprised has not gotten a release. I believe she was leaked. As she's going to be getting a figure soon. I think she's getting a figure in 2023. Not confident on that one, but I believe I remember reading her name somewhere. But I would like to just get a Zatanna figure. And yeah, those were like Justice League members. And then I'd like to see some more Teen Titans. Obviously, we talked about Cyborg earlier. I would like him more like Justice League based, not more as a kid, but for like Teen Titans, give me a Speedy, give me Beast Boy, give me Raven, give me Starfire, give me some of those classic Teen Titans characters. That I would like to see more. I'd like to see some more Teen Titans characters. Some more stuff I'd like to see. More Batman villains. Now, they did a killer job this year with the Batman characters. We got Bane, Man-Bat, Clayface. I believe those were all released this year. The only one I'm not confident that came out this year was Clayface, but I believe he did. Man-Bat and Bane, I know for sure, came out this year. We had Arkham Knight. That was a cool one. Hush, the Arkham City Wave, Penguin, Ra's al Ghul, Catwoman. There's been a lot of cool Batman villains that have come out. And there's a couple others that I'd like to see. Me personally, the couple on the list, the short list. Two-Face. I'd like to see a Two-Face come out. I don't believe there's been a Two-Face yet. There's going to be a Two-Face coming out. They're going to be doing a Dark Knight Wave, and they're going to be doing a movie Two-Face. But I want a more comic-based Two-Face, or even based on the Arkham figures. That I didn't mind Two-Face's design in the Arkham games. Next, Poison Ivy. She's another one of the big bads where she has not got any figures yet, which I know there's a whole controversy with McFarlane not producing female figures. But I think, Poison Ivy, she's a Batman villain. I think she would sell, in my personal opinion. I don't know what you would base her design off of. I wasn't the biggest fan of her design from the Arkham games, so I would kind of stray away from that. But maybe something like from the animated show where she's human and she's got the green suit. Something like that, but in the comics. If I find a picture of something that kind of what I'd like to see, I'll throw it up on the screen. But Poison Ivy's another character I'd like to see. Firefly. I wouldn't mind seeing Firefly from the Arkham games. I like that design. Hugo Strange. I'd like to see him. I wouldn't mind the Arkham game design. Black Mask. Same thing. He's another character. I wouldn't mind the Arkham design. And Mad Hatter. I would also like to see. And again, you can use the Arkham design. I guess you can use the Arkham design for all of these except for Poison Ivy, which I wasn't a fan of her design in that game. But everyone else, if they did based on the Arkham games, I wouldn't mind that, to be honest. So, just a couple Batman villains I'd like to see. A couple more wants. Like I said, this is probably one of my bigger wants for figures. I'd like to see Sinestro. I can't believe hasn't been too many Green Lantern figures. You've got 3 Black Lanterns come out. 4. You've got Necron, you've got Deathstorm, you've got Black Lantern Superman and Black Lantern Batman. How have we not gotten a Sinestro yet? That blows my mind. He's one of the biggest bads in the DC Multiverse, and he hasn't gotten a figure yet? Like, that's crazy to me. The next few wants are Lantern related, but first off, Sinestro. Give us a Sinestro, please. So as far as like other lanterns, I'd like to just see like all the other lanterns represented. No character in particular. Maybe for the blue lanterns, obviously Saint Walker. There's a couple big characters that are related for each of the Lantern Corps. Obviously, like for the orange lanterns, Larfleeze. For the black lanterns, Black Hand. The Star Sapphires, Star Sapphire. And Indigo Tribe, I believe the character's name is Nock, or the planet's called Nock. I'm not too familiar with the Indigo Tribe one, but I just want to see more Lantern characters in general across all the Lantern Corps. I've got none in particular that I want. I'd like to see a Larfleeze. I think that would be a cool figure. And obviously Sinestro. I'd like to see Sinestro. That'd probably be one of my biggest wants on this list. Sinestro would probably be at the top of the list with Wonder Woman. Classic Wonder Woman and Sinestro. Those would be 2 figures that I'd like to see a lot in 2023. And then, just more Lanterns. Give me somebody from each team. What's the cat's name from the Red Lantern? Dax or something like that? Starts with a D. I don't know what the rest of the name is. Give me that. Give me Larfleeze. Give me Saint Walker. Give me more. There's the Indigo Tribe one. He's an elephant. I don't know the name of it. Give me Kilowog from the Green Lanterns. Like, there's just so many characters across this Lantern universe that you can put out. And I want to see a colorful collection of Lanterns this year. And then last but not least, for the DC Multiverse, something I'd like to see would be a wave for the upcoming game Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I actually really like the designs for all the characters, Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, King Shark, and Harley Quinn. I would like to see all those characters get figures, but just based on this video game, I really like their designs in this, and I would like to see a wave base dedicated just towards these characters. And obviously that's coming out next year. I believe so. I believe it's been confirmed for 2023. Could be wrong, could have been delayed a little more. So I think there's a high chance we could see this one coming out next year to correlate with the game, because obviously they got figures that correlate with the movie. Why would you not correlate with the game? So I think that this is a high chance of us getting a wave for that. But if it's not in the pipeline, I would like to see that. We're going to save wrestling for last. So the second last, the semi-main event, is going to be Power Rangers Lightning Collection. Lightning Collection's been pretty rocky this year, where the first half of the year was almost nothing, no reveals. They really redeemed themselves with the second half, tons of reveals. 2023 is looking to be a huge year for Lightning Collection, and I'm pretty excited. Some things I'd like to see, for me personally, on top of everything that's been announced. First thing, I'd like to see more villains and monsters. I really liked the idea for the monster wave. Now, we only got one wave because it wasn't very successful, where the first and only wave was Pumpkin Rapper and King Sphinx. You know, they were a little disappointing. I think they could have used a little more paints, and they just seemed to overproduce the shit out of the figures, because everywhere I went, I felt like I saw like 100 of them. I go to a GameStop, there's 100 of them. Toys R Us, 100 of them. Walmart, ton. Like, just, I don't know what happened at the factory, if someone just didn't hit the stop printing button, and they're just like, oh fuck, we've got all these Pumpkin Rappers and King Sphinxes. What are we gonna do? I'll just fucking ship them to the store. And it just seemed like an overabundance, and I think that killed the line. Now, we have gotten monsters since. They kind of just released them. There's no real rhyme or reason to them. The most recent one would be the Snizzard, which is part of Deluxe Wave 2. But yeah, I just want to see more monsters and spread it out. Don't focus just on Mighty Morphin. There's a lot of cool designs that are across all Ranger seasons, and obviously they're focusing more on Mighty Morphin with all the monsters they've released so far. But yeah, I'd like to see just more monsters to kind of balance out the Rangers. Now, obviously it's a Power Rangers Lightning Collection. People want the Rangers. But I think one of the cool things about the Lightning Collection is the monsters, and them using the kind of the whole universe and not just focusing on the Ranger teams. They're using the villains and the comics and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'd just like some more monsters. Some in particular, there's a couple here. It's funny. I just talked about how I want to see more than just Mighty Morphin, but the ones I have written here are Mighty Morphin, but, forgive me. So the first one, I'd like to see Babu and Squat. If I could have anything on the list that I'm going to talk about here, that would probably be at the top of the list. I would love to see Babu and Squat to complete that Mighty Morphin villain team where, we've got Rita, we've got Goldar, we've got Finster, we've got Scorpina. Give us a Babu and Squat. Let us complete that core group. And Lord Zed too. I don't really consider Lord Zed because he came after. But yeah, Babu and Squat, I would love a 2-pack of them, or singles, whatever the fuck they want to do. But Babu and Squat, I would love figures of them, please. Top of the list, please. A couple other villains. I'd like to see Rito Revolto. I was always a big fan of Rito. I thought he was funny, especially his stuff with Goldar and Zeo. Very entertaining. And I just always thought he was badass. He had a cool look. He's all bones and stuff. So, and he's related to Rita. And the other one I have listed here, and this is a controversial one, I'd like to see an Ivan Ooze figure. Now, the Ivan Ooze, I think it can't be a standard release. I think this is the type of figure that has to come at a con. It's got to be a con exclusive. Comic-Con, Hasbro-Con, Anime-Con, whatever you want. It's got to be a big release. It's got to be a big deal. An Ivan Ooze release. I would love to see it. Ivan Ooze has kind of become a meme in the Power Rangers fandom. But I love that original movie, and he's a huge part of it. So I'd love a figure to commemorate that. I don't want to see him just released in a wave. No. He's got to have a nice box, kind of like with Draken, the Draken that they released as a con exclusive, where he's got the big box. He's got a nice set, nice little set piece. I think Ivan Ooze deserves the same treatment. I would love to see that. Another thing I'd like to see in 2023 would be more comic characters. I really like the comics. I haven't kept up with them in a while, but every time I read them, and they're always introducing something super cool, whether it be the Omega Rangers, a villain, new Green Ranger. I'd love a figure of that. Give us a matte Green Ranger. I would like the Omega Rangers, me personally. I really like that character design. I just like that story in general. I think it's so cool where, in the show, Jason, Zach, and Trini, they just kind of disappear and fuck off, and it's like, where do they go? They went to the Peace Summit, blah, blah, blah. And then the comics was like, no. We're going to do something with that storyline. We love these characters. We want to incorporate them. And it's like, oh, what are they going to do? Oh, they're in a special Ranger mission in space. They become these ancient Rangers, the Omega Rangers, and they just travel around space and taking on intergalactic threats. I just think that's so fucking cool that they did that and kind of, I don't want to say redeem those characters, but kind of kept them in the universe, because those are beloved characters. A lot of people grew up with Trini, Jason, and Zach, and, it was very sad when they transitioned to Adam, Aisha, and Rocky, and for them to kind of still keep them in the Ranger universe is super cool, and I'd love figures based on those Omega Ranger designs, so I would love that. Top two, give us Babu and Squat and give us the Omega Rangers, please. I would love those. I would absolutely love those. I think that would be just the coolest thing. And yeah, that's really all my wants for what I'd like to see in 2023. Obviously, I'd like to see more Zords, the Zord Ascension project. But in terms of like figures, I think they're doing a fine job. It's kind of like Marvel Legends, where it's like, I'm not too concerned about what they're releasing. I think they release enough new and cool stuff. Obviously, they do some of the re-releases, like the upcoming Silver Ranger. We have already gotten an In-Space Silver Ranger, but they're doing it again. But you get the motorcycle. Stuff like that. I'm not, like, I would prefer a new Ranger, but I understand if you can, reuse the Ranger in something else. Completely understandable, because after all, it is a business. So if you already have the mold for the figure, you just create a unique mold for the bike, paint it silver, and then you can ship it off. But yeah, I really like what they're doing with the line and what they've announced. I don't really have any qualms, to be honest. I just wish there was more consistency in the waves, where like we're just getting Beast Morphers yellow now. And for the longest time, so for Beast Morphers, so in Wave 2, which came out, I think in 2019 or something like that, Wave 2, we got Beast Morphers Beast Morphers Red and Beast Morphers Gold. And Wave 3, we got Beast Morphers Blue. And then we've got to wait till Wave 13 to get Beast Morphers Yellow. That's fucking crazy. So who knows whenever we'll get Beast Morphers Silver to kind of complete that team. It's only 5 Rangers. But yeah, I just like a little more consistency in following up with teams. Here's another one. Time Force Red. Time Force Red came out, I believe it was Wave 4 or 5. And we haven't gotten another Time Force Ranger since, until now, where we just got Time Force Blue in Deluxe Wave 2, along with the Snizzard I mentioned earlier. So just a huge gap in between. So I just wish they more focused on, okay, this is the next team we want to kind of complete, and this is how we're slowly going to incorporate them in the waves and exclusives, whatever the case may be. So just a little more consistency. And then the other thing I would like to see in 2023 for Lightning Collection, I would like to see a HasLab. I think that's coming this year. I think we're going to be getting one for the Power Rangers collection. But what would it be? What would the HasLabs be? Now, I got a couple ideas, which I think would be cool. I also want your ideas in the comment section. And when I was kind of sourcing these ideas, I was trying to think of stuff where, when I think of the HasLab stuff, I think of like extra. I don't want someone to miss out on a HasLab and just be like, fuck, I can't get that figure anymore. That sucks. Obviously, Galactus, that's a huge figure people want, and it is stuck behind a paywall. But I can kind of understand that because there was a lot of little parts that went into that. But for Power Rangers, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see someone miss out on a set of figures or whatever the case may be and be like, oh, fuck, I can't get that now. I can't complete this team, whatever the case may be. So I kind of want it to be extra, where it's kind of like, if you're a super hardcore Power Ranger fan, you're probably going to get it. But if you're just a casual Power Ranger collector, it's like, oh, that's cool, but I'm fine if I don't get that. So the two ideas that I had, one of them has a couple different ideas. Basically, whatever. I'll just explain it. It'll make more sense. So the first HasLabs idea I had was the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Command Center. I think that'd be cool. This kind of goes back to the Marvel Legends one I talked about earlier with the Danger Room, where it's like a diorama. I don't know if people would want that. For the Danger Room stuff, I didn't know what to incorporate as crowdsourcing goals because, like, we've already got all the X-Men. Like, what characters would you include in the Danger Room? I'm not sure. For the Power Rangers, I know what we can include. So what I would do for the Command Center, obviously you do the whole Command Center. You have it as a set piece. Now, one thing I would like to see is a previous release in the Lightning Collection. They did this 2-pack. It was a Walmart exclusive. It was Alpha and Zordon. What I would like to see is if they were to do this diorama set, leave a space open so we can put that Zordon in there. I think this is one of those releases where people kind of forget that they released it because, like I said, it was a Walmart exclusive. It was pretty hard to find. I bought it on eBay or something like that because I just couldn't find it anywhere. It was just super hard to find. I paid an arm and a little bit of a leg to buy it, but I really wanted it. And I would like to see them incorporate it. So what I would do for the diorama, I would kind of save this little area where Zordon is, like on his pedestal, and put an area, like put it to where I can fit the 2-pack Zordon in there, and it would fit perfectly. And maybe have like a wireless charging pad because the Zordon figure in the 2-pack has batteries. So if they had this like wireless charging center in the diorama where you can just set it there and it would light up without the use of batteries, I think that would be really cool. That would be a lot of work, but that would just be cool. Or you could just have a Zordon built into the diorama, but I think that'd be dumb because like you already have a Zordon in the 2-pack. Incorporate it. You have Alpha too. Incorporate them into this diorama. Oh, you want to complete it? Well, get this 2-pack of Zordon and Alpha. So that's something I would like to see. And it would kind of cut the cost on the diorama so we can have cooler other stuff, which I'll talk about in a second. So that's something I'd like to see, a little carved out area for the 2-pack Zordon. I would like the little globe, maybe it has a short like 2-minute video that kind of repeats, and maybe it would shuffle the footage around. I think that'd be cool. Or some sort of visual in the little globe thing where they kind of, where they would go and be like, oh shit, Rita has a monster attacking the city. Oh shit, it's, attacking the juice bar or something like that. And then they would transform and go save the day. And I'd like lights on all the little kind of computers around that little globe. I would like it to light up and stuff like that. Now, as far as crowdsourcing goals, I have that covered. So one thing that we could do for crowdsourcing goals, so the main thing would be the diorama of the Command Center. And then as far as goals go, it would be, I think this would be cool, would be civilian figures for the Mighty Morphin team. So goal 1 would be like the original 5. So you'd get Jason, Billy, Trini, Zach, and Kimberly, all in civilian clothing. One thing I would also do is include an accessory of the Morpher, where they kind of hold it out. You got the hands with the Morpher. They can hold it out and you can pose it because they would morph a lot in front of that little globe in the Command Center. So I would have a little Morpher accessory for the Rangers, and you can kind of pose them all in their civilian uniforms. I think that would just make for some really cool figure photography. I have given this a lot of thought, so I think that would be cool. A second goal, I would also include, obviously, Tommy. I know some people are probably like, why would you make that a second goal? I know people would want it, so we would make it a second goal, but I would give you two Tommies. You get a Tommy for the Green Ranger and a Tommy for the White Ranger. So you'd get a Tommy green civilian clothing and a Tommy in white civilian clothing. And then there's also the possibility about Rocky, Adam, Aisha, and Kat. I think if that were to be a third goal, I think that would just be too much, because then you get a whole diorama, and then you get 11 figures. You'd get Jason, Trini, Zach, Kimberly, Jason, Billy, Trini, Zach, Kimberly. That's 5, the original 5. Then we get 2 Tommies, a green and a white. Then we get a Rocky figure, Adam, Aisha, and Kat. That's another 4 figures. That's 11 figures in total. That would just make this a very, very expensive piece. So I don't know if I'd include Rocky, Adam, Aisha, and Kat. What I would possibly do is include heads. Include their heads, brand new head sculpts for them, and then you can pop them onto the body. So you can take off Jason's head and then put on Rocky's head, and boom, it'd become a Rocky Red Ranger, if that's what you're into. The only thing would be like Zach and Adam, where they wore 2 very different clothing, and obviously one of them is black, one of them's, I believe Adam is Asian, or half Asian, something like that. That would be interesting. Obviously, what I would do would be like, I would do Adam or Zach. I would have him in long sleeve clothing. So what you can do is basically his whole body's covered. Well, no, because then the neck would be exposed. The neck would be black, and then you'd put on the white head. So I guess that wouldn't work unless you give him like a turtleneck. But what I was thinking was you could have like a long sleeve shirt. You could pop off the hands. So you can have Zach's black hands, take them off, and then put on Adam's white hands. And that would easily be an easy switch because you couldn't tell. But as far as the head swap, I forgot about the neck. Unless you put them, like I said, in a turtleneck. So where the neck's covered, and then you just pop off the heads and you can swap them. Other than that, well, I guess Trini too. Trini and Aisha, one of them's Asian, one of them's black. I would do the same thing, wear long sleeve clothing, change the arms and the heads, maybe another turtleneck for Trini, Aisha. But then Kat and Kimberly, they're both white, just the head swap would be different. And Rocky and Jason, I believe that they were kind of same skin tone, so that would be an easy just one head swap. But for this, I think I would probably ignore Rocky, Adam, Aisha, and Kat, and just focus more on the core 6, 7. I'm including Tommy as 2, as the green and the white. So I think that would be cool. Civilian versions of the original team, especially with the little morpher accessory, and you can kind of pose them in the morphing stance. I think that'd be super cool with the diorama. That's one of my ideas. Another one of my ideas was similar idea to the command center, but instead of the command center, it'd be the juice bar. And basically we could get, you could do civilian figures again for the Rangers, or a couple other ideas. You can do an Ernie figure. I don't know how many people would probably want that. I don't think a lot of people, no offense to the Ernie fans. But another one that I think would be cool would be Bulk and Skull. Them in the juice bar diorama. I think that would be 2 cool figures that people would actually pay for to see as like a goal. So I think that'd be the cool one. But if I had a choice, I'd probably go with the command center with the civilian figures, because I know that's been a want of fans, would be like, okay, so we have the morphed versions of the Rangers, but like, what if we get some civilian figures of them? I don't know if we'll ever get that. I think we just gotta like do custom versions, but it'd be cool if we crowdsourced it and got the civilian figures. I think that'd be cool. And then one other idea I had, well, actually 2 ideas for more HasLab stuff. So that was a diorama. That I think the diorama stuff is kind of hit and miss. I don't know if people would actually back that. Me personally, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure. I would probably, it would depend on the goals. But as far as like a diorama set, I don't think I have any interest. For me, I'm more of like a figure collector. I want a figure. I want to give me something big, or a set of figures. I don't know if I want a diorama set, because I keep all my stuff in, at least for me personally, I keep all my stuff in box. So just having a big box of like the command center, I don't know if I'd want that. Depending on the price, depending on the goals, what other stuff are we going to get with the crowdfunding goals? So that's all dependent. The next few ideas I have, I think would be cool. So the first one would be Power Rangers Wild Force Zords. Now, one thing I really liked about Wild Force as a whole season is they had tons of Zords. So you had the main Zord, which was a combination of a lion, a shark, a bison, a tiger, and an eagle, and they formed the main Wild Force Megazord. Then you had the Sixth Ranger. He had his own Zord, and it was 3 Zords combined into one. You had a wolf, an alligator, and a hammerhead shark. And then you had a bunch of other Zords. Like, there were just so many, I don't know the correct word, auxiliary Zords. You just had so many Zords from that season, and there's so many interchangeable pieces. So what I would do, personally, is, obviously you have the main Megazord and the Sixth Ranger's Megazord. I would say we're going to do that as a regular release. That's going to be part of the Zord Ascension project. But as far as the crowdfunding stuff, I would take, like the Animus Zord, which is the Black Lion, Condor, Buffalo, Jaguar, and Sawtooth Shark. I might put that out. Or the Isis Megazord, which is a Falcon, Armadillo, Giraffe, Rhino, and Deer. And then you had the Conga Zord, which is Gorilla, Eagle, Polar Bear, Black Bear, and Bison. Now, the Eagle and the Bison are part of the regular team, so you can't do that one. But one thing I would do is I would take either the Animus Zord or the Isis Megazord, whereas like all different pieces, and they don't rely on the original Megazords. It's all completely new stuff. What I would do is I would do one of those, and then I would do extra stuff. So the whole idea would be you get this Megazord, and you get all these extra pieces. And the idea would be eventually when we do get the Wild Force Megazord and the Six Rangers Megazord, all those pieces would be interchangeable. So you could take like the Armadillo and Giraffe, and then you can attach it to the Zord Ascension Project main Megazord. So you could take off whatever parts and then put on these new parts. And basically it would just be all interchangeable. I think that would be an absolute mechanical nightmare, whoever's making these figures, where you have to have them all kind of work together. So that would be a lot of work, and I think that would be a perfect job for HasLab. Okay, this needs a little more engineering because everything has to be compatible. It has to be compatible with the main Megazord, the Six Rangers Megazord, the Isis Megazord, Animus Megazord, Kongazord, everybody. All these animal pieces all have to go together in some way to recreate all the things that we saw in the show. So that, like I said, that sounds like an absolute nightmare. That's one of those projects where it's like a HasLab. Okay, we need a little more engineering on these parts and a little more financial backing, and I think that would work out to kind of incorporate all these Zords into one and make sure everything fits each Zord. I think that would be cool. And plus, like the Animus Zord and the Isis Megazord, I don't think it'd be too big of a deal if people missed out on that one. I think the Animus Zord's more like, okay, we can miss out on that one. That one's not too big. It's basically a recoloring of the main Megazord. If they missed out on the Isis Megazord, I think people would be more angry because it's more unique pieces. The Armadillo, Giraffe, Rhino, Deer. A lot of cool Zords. But yeah, as a whole, to make them all connect, and including the stuff for like the mainline Zord Ascension project, I don't know if I explained this well, but okay, let me try and do it again. So you have the main Megazord and the Sixth Ranger Megazord. They're in the Zord Ascension project. They have nothing to do with the HasLabs. The HasLabs are mainly focused on the extra Zords, all the other Zords that were introduced throughout the show. And basically what I would want to do is take all those Zord pieces that we would do in the HasLab and then have them also be combinable with the main Megazord eventually when we'd get that in Wild Force. So basically the whole idea, everything is universal. They all combine. They're all, you can detach. If you have the main Megazord, you can take off the arm, take off the shark. And, if you want to take the giraffe and put it as the arm in replace of the shark, you can do that. And like I said, I think that's a perfect project for the HasLab where a lot of effort needs to go into it, and I think this would be good for crowdsourcing. So that's my one. I think that would be a really cool idea. The other idea, this will be the last one for the Power Ranger stuff. I know we went on for quite a bit. What I think would be really cool, and I could definitely see, would be Serpentera, which is Lord Zed's Megazord, which is this huge dragon, and it's really cool. I had one as a kid, And it's this huge green dragon. It looks awesome. And what I would do is obviously the main Serpentera, ginormous. We're going to make him ginormous, maybe the size of a sentinel. I don't know how big we'd make it, but that'd be the big bulk of the crowdsourcing, or the HasLab. That would be the main project. It is the Serpentera. And then as the crowdsourcing goals, what I would think would be cool is if we go to episode Forever Red, which is one of the most famous Power Ranger episodes across all the seasons, where you have the first 10 Rangers, they all come together and they have to stop this. And they were fighting against General Venjix and his team, the Machine Empire, I believe it was. And a lot of those people, those characters, are actually from other Sentais, other Power Rangers, not Power Rangers specifically, but Sentai is kind of like the umbrella term for Rangers. These other characters were from some different ones, like from Big Bad Beetleborgs. And so as crowdsourcing, I would include General Venjix, Girok, Tesla, Automon, and Steelon. And I think that'd be cool. I don't know which one it is, but one of these is green, and it is the actual character from the Big Bad Beetleborgs. I would love a Big Bad Beetleborg figure for the whole team, and I think this would be the closest way to get a a figure for the Big Bad Beetleborgs. I'll just say Beetleborgs next time, because saying the whole thing, it's kind of a mouthful. It's so many B's. So I think that would be a really cool one. You have Serpentera, and I think a lot of people would want that. And then as crowdsourcing goals, you get those 5 extra characters. And obviously, if these people are Sentai fans and Japanese, Japanese Sentai, know about the other characters, not only are they villains in the Power Rangers, but you can also have them displayed as whatever shows they came from previously. So I think that one would actually be really cool. If I had to pick any one of these ideas, they're all actually pretty sweet. I really like the Wild Force idea with all the Zords and stuff. I like the Serpentera idea. I just like the fact we'd get a green Beetleborg figure. Like, I would like Beetleborg figures. Like, please, Hasbro, if you're listening, please please incorporate them in the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. Maybe a little spin-off. That'd be awesome. The Command Center, the thing that I would like would be the civilian figures with the Morpher accessory. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, for me, I'd probably lean towards Serpentera. If I had to pick one, Serpentera with all 5 of those characters, I think would be a really cool HasLab. Now, the price point, I don't know. Prices, we won't talk prices, but I'd probably assume $350, something like that. I think $350 or $400 for the whole package, where you get Serpentera. They would have to fucking knock it out of the park with Serpentera, by the way. And then having those 5 extra characters, I think for like $350, $400, no more than that, would be solid. Would be a solid set for a HasLab, in my opinion. So if I had to pick one, probably Serpentera. Like I said, Forever Red is an episode people absolutely love. It is a very iconic episode. It's a good episode. I enjoyed it. I think that would actually get funded by Power Ranger fans. I think that'd be really cool. But in 2023, I would like to see them do a HasLab. As far as what it is, I gave some ideas. What are your ideas? What ideas of mine did you like? Did you like any of them? What ideas would you have of your own for a potential HasLab for the Power Rangers Lightning Collection? Let me know in the comment section. Okay, last but not least, we're jumping into wrestling. As far as wrestling, I think 2023 is going to be a really cool year. One thing I really like about wrestling right now, especially wrestling figures, there's so many companies doing stuff. Obviously, Jazzwares with AEW doing a great job. Mattel and WWE doing a great job. You've got newer companies with like Cella Toys, who's doing the uncensored line, which is kind of the elite style, WWE elite style. You have Impact Wrestling. They're going to be getting some figures, I believe, with Cella Toys as well. MLW is going to be getting some figures. I believe that's also with Cella Toys. And then we have Boss Fight Studios doing the Legends line. That's really cool. Super 7, I don't know if they're going to be continuing with more New Japan stuff, but it's a really good time to be a wrestling figure collector because there's so many companies doing figures. There's just a huge market. There's so many wrestlers now and, in the past of like that have never gotten figures. So it's cool to see that these companies are kind of adding to the whole ecosystem of wrestling figures. So we'll talk about all of them. We're going to start out with AEW and Jazzwares. My big wants from them in 2023, I just want more figures. With AEW, one of the things I hate about them is just the roster is so big. It feels like every week they're signing somebody, and the figures can't really keep up with it. Ethan Page, I mean, his debut, how long ago? We still haven't gotten a figure. He's coming in like wave 15 or 16. We're on like wave 11 of Unrivaled, so we still have to wait 4 more waves. We might get his figure by like the end of next year, which is like insane. The Acclaimed, same thing. One of the biggest, hottest acts in the company. They're in the same wave as Ethan Page, unless they get bumped up. But like, I just wish they released more stuff, and that was the whole reason of them doing Unmatched. Is like, okay, the roster's so big, we're gonna pump out some more figures, and it seemed like they slowed down a little bit this year, at least the end of the year. I'd say early on in the year, it was like every month, like they were just like clockwork. They were just pumping out figures. The whole idea, I remember Jeremy Padower, he said in an interview, and the whole idea was, so 12 months in a year. The idea was with Unrivaled and Unmatched would be, like January we get Unrivaled, February we get Unmatched, March we get Unrivaled, April we get Unmatched, and it would just keep going and going and going. Each month they would rotate, and you'd kind of be able to cycle through figures more. And I think that's a cool idea if they get on track with that. But yeah, I want to see them do more figures, just more consistency in the figures. In 2023. That's what I'd like to see. Another thing I'd like to see, and I think this is a possibility, would be a possible Ring of Honor line. Obviously, AEW owns Ring of Honor, has access to that huge library. There's a bunch of the guys on the roster that have wrestled in Ring of Honor. I think it'd be fun to do a Ring of Honor line with Jazzwares, so it kind of fits with the AEW figures. What I would do is I would do like a wave 1, and it would kind of be a test. It'd be like, hey, we're going to do this Ring of Honor line. It's going to be 1 wave, 4 figures. I'd make it like, I'd kind of push it as like, this is going to be the only wave. Like, if it's successful, we'll do more. If it's not successful, we're going to do one and done. That's it. And there's a lot of people they can do for the first wave, Obviously, the one that comes to mind the most would be like Bryan Danielson, Claudio, the Briscoe brothers, Samoa Joe. I don't know if you'd want to do a CM Punk, Colt Cabana, Christopher Daniels. I mentioned enough names to where you can get a solid wave 1. And I think that would be cool. I don't know if there'd be a big demand for it. That's why I'd put out like a wave 1 as a test. Like, if it's successful, we'll do more. If not, that's it. We're done with it. But I'd like to see a Ring of Honor line. I think 2023 is going to be a big year for Ring of Honor. I think they're going to have a consistent show going on, more consistent pay-per-views. How about a figure line to boot? I think that'd be really cool. Whether that comes or not, probably not. But that's something I would like to see as a possibility in 2023. That was it for the AEW stuff. I just want more and maybe a possible Ring of Honor line. Next, we got WWE Mattel. My wants for them, if you watch my monthly pickups, I say it quite often, but I want more ECW figures. Give me guys from the ECW era. I'll even take WCW figures because they've been doing a lot of WCW stuff recently, like in the Legends wave with the NWO guys, Luger, Nash, Hall, and they just had the ringside exclusives, Hollywood Hogan, and previously they had a 2-pack Bret Hart and Goldberg for WCW. So give me more ECW guys. Give me some more WCW guys. I would like both of them. I think we could possibly see some more ECW stuff. I think the Cactus Jack was kind of a test where it's like, ooh, I wonder if people would want ECW figures. And I think the Cactus Jack was pretty successful. I went on Ringside the other day to check out the sale. I went to look for another Cactus Jack because they're having some really crazy deals on Ringside Collectibles. So I'm like, hey, if I can get another Cactus Jack for a really good price, I just want it for the title so I can have a set of the ECW tag team titles. And if it's a really good price, I might grab another one just for the title. And I went on Ringside and it was sold out. They didn't have any more. So obviously it was a big success. Will we get some more ECW figures in the future? I don't know. The only thing that makes me think potentially would be the Cactus Jack, the Ringside exclusive. It came with an ECW tag title. and just one of them. So we could potentially see another ECW wrestler, probably Mikey Whipwreck, because that's who Cactus Jack won it with. Not my ideal person for the next person in line for an ECW figure, but hey, I'll take whatever at this point. But yeah, more ECW and WCW figures. That's one of my biggest wants. Another one of my biggest wants, I want more wrestlers from the Attitude Era. Gimme Gangrel, gimme Val Venus, Steve Blackman, Al Snow, Hardcore Holly, Crash Holly, S.A. Rios, the Headbangers, just to name a few. With the Mattel line, they just released so many of the older figures. Early 90s, late 80s, these older guys. Obviously, there's a market for it because they keep pumping them out, but I want to see more Attitude Era. Fuck these old guys collecting, okay? How about we swap in a couple Attitude Era guys here and there? Please, like, come on. You know, I'm not saying completely phase out the old guys, but fuck me. If we can mix in a couple of the Attitude Era guys, I think that would be pretty awesome. So, yeah, I want to see some more Attitude Era guys. And ECW and WCW stuff. Make less old people. Please. Like, they're cool to have figures of, but man, oh man, it just is like a fucking old folks home for the figures sometimes, where it's like, who the fuck is that? Oh, I don't know, it was before my time. So yeah, less old people, please. Just tone it down a little bit, give us some Attitude Era stuff, sprinkle it in every once in that, or every now and then, whether it be the actual Mattel line, maybe throw it in the WWE Legends line, put these old fucks in the WWE Legends line. That's what the Legends are for the old guys. Put them in there, sprinkle in some Attitude Eras. I wouldn't even mind Attitude Era guys in the Legends line. Just give me something, anywhere. That would be a big want of mine, just more Attitude Era guys. This is the last thing for WWE Mattel. One thing I think is just absolutely weird that they don't do is make figures for guys who are part of the WWE that were wrestlers but are not anymore. And I'm going to name some. But it just always blew my mind. Obviously, you want people from the active roster, but there's other people that are working in WWE that have had a name and were popular at one point, and I think would be really cool to get a figure of. And I'm about to go through some. So, these are people that work for WWE, whether it be in like a training role, a producer role, that I'd like to see get a figure. So we have Norman Smiley. I think that would be a cool one. He's a trainer at the Performance Center. I mentioned WCW earlier. I think he would be a perfect one for that. If you watched my last figure video, I was talking about how we almost have all the WCW titles, except the biggest one that we're missing is the Hardcore title. Give me a Norman Smiley, package it with the Hardcore title, the WCW Hardcore title, whether it be a ringside exclusive, Legends line, something. I think that'd be a cool one. Norman Smiley with the WCW Hardcore title. Some more people that work for WWE that never got any figures. Norman Smiley's at the top of the list, like I said. Jamie Noble, recently in the news, wrestled his last match. They did some house shows in Virginia. He's the hometown boy. And he came out of retirement to wrestle at it. And I think that would be a cool one. Give me a Jamie Noble figure. And all these would be WWE Elite style. Because that I do the Elites, I don't do basics. All the figures I mentioned previously, all Elites. So give me a Jamie Noble figure. He's a producer at WWE. Steve Corino, former ECW champion, currently a trainer at the Performance Center. Give him a figure. I think he's one that would be cool for a ringside exclusive. Hey, we're going to have a ringside exclusive ECW Steve Corino. I think that'd be cool. Package him with the title. A-Train Albert. You can have two figures right there. We've had a Lord Tensai figure, but give me an Albert figure. Give me an A-Train figure. He's also a trainer at the Performance Center. Funaki. So I went through the Wikipedia to look up some of these names to see who was with the company still, because there's a couple of them I know worked for WWE, but I didn't know if they got fired in the when the COVID cuts, because they just released like everybody. So I wasn't sure if these people were still part of the company. So I was looking through the Wikipedia of like WWE personnel, and I saw Funaki's name. And he actually does color commentary for the Japanese pay-per-views. So whenever there's a pay-per-view, he's on the Japanese commentary team for that. So I think that would be a cool one. You give me a Kaientai figure for Funaki, Kung Funaki. I think that would be cool. Give me a Funaki figure. Sean Daivari. I think that'd be a cool elite. Shane Helms or Gregory Helms. Obviously, we've had a couple Hurricane figures, but obviously Gregory Helms from his run on SmackDown, where he was one of the bigger heels, and he was a cruiserweight champion. Or even Shane Helms, give me him from his WCW days with the WCW cruiserweight title. I think that would be fun. Or even his 3-count days. That would be really cool. Another WCW guy, Billy Kidman. He is, Sean Daivari, producer. Shane Helms, producer. Billy Kidman, also producer. Billy Kidman's one of the bigger ones where it's like, man, he's been with WWE for a very long time. And this fucker hasn't gotten a figure since Jack's Pacific. My God, he is due for one. And everyone remembers WCW Billy Kidman with the fucking wife beater and the jean shorts. Like, he had such a cool look. He's got one of the worst looking shooting star presses, but hey, he was still a really cool wrestler. You can have him come with the WCW Cruiserweight title. Or you can even have him from his WWE run where he had, he just wore like wrestling trunks, but you can have him there and package him with the Cruiserweight title. I think Billy Kidman would be a cool one. Another one, this one I was surprised about. I didn't know he was with WWE, but he's working at the Performance Center. Kenny Dykstra, formerly known as Kenny from the Spirit Squad. I didn't know he was employed by WWE, but he would be a cool one to get a figure of. Obviously, you can do this Kenny Dykstra look after his Spirit Squad, or he's a pretty generic looking guy. But I'd love to see a Kenny Spirit Squad figure. Obviously, you got Kenny, Nikki. Is it Nikki? I don't know. Dolph Ziggler, whoever the fuck he was. Yeah, he was Nikki in Spirit Squad. I'm sure you can sign the other 3, and then we can get some WWE Elite Spirit Squad figures. That would be, I don't know how much of a demand there would be for some Spirit Squad figures, but I think that'd be really cool. At least give us a Kenny Spirit Squad, and then kind of tease potentially more Spirit Squad figures. But I think that one would be really cool. And just a lot of these guys that I mentioned have been with WWE for so long and have never gotten figures. And some of them are big names. Billy Kidman, Steve Corino. I'd probably say those are the biggest names. Funaki, I'll throw Funaki in there. There's money to be made with those guys. Let's get them on some figures, man. It just blows my mind like how this has not happened. Obviously, yeah, cool. You do the current wrestlers, the contracted wrestlers, the ones that we see on TV every week. That's cool. But you're also sitting on a gold mine of other people in the company that can easily have figures. And it's not like you really have to produce. Like, Funaki doesn't have any crazy deco or anything. Some of these just seem so easy to produce. Billy Kidman, I know there's been a bunch of figures that have come out that have had jean shorts. Just throw a fucking tank top on one of the figures. Like, you have a Dean Ambrose figure from before, he came with the white tank top. Take that torso, put it on the jean shorts. These figures are so easy to fucking produce, it's not even funny. All the parts are there. You have all these parts from different figures you've released before. Just head scan. I think a lot of these guys would be cool for the Legends line, or even the main WWE line. Some of them I think would be cool for ringside exclusives. I think Norman Smiley would be one that'd be cool for a ringside exclusive with the hardcore title. I think that'd be a cool one. Steve Corino as well, if we're continuing the ECW wave, he'd be a cool one to have with the ECW title. So, yeah, a lot of cool opportunities here that I'd like to see them expand. Mattel, if you're listening, I know you're not. I just gave you a bunch of awesome ideas, and like I said, it just blows my mind how this has not been done already. How have you not used these guys and made money with them? Because they're all contracted to WWE. You don't have to sign anything else. So I don't know. It blows my mind. Whatever. But yeah, that's it for WWE and Mattel. Those are some things I'd like to see. As far as other wrestling stuff, obviously I talked about, the main wrestling lines. And then you got, the more indie lines. You got Cella Toys. Cella Toys, I know, has been in the news recently. They've had some company trouble, something like that, where they were like bought out. It seemed like they were promising more than they can deliver. and I think they were in financial trouble, so I'm not too sure what's going to happen with the Cella toy stuff. I know some new company took them over, but I would like to, I hope they're on track to continue releasing their uncensored line, which is kind of WWE Elite style. I actually saw somebody post a YouTube video today as I'm recording this, where they received the uncensored line Dynamite Kid, and I watched it. The figure looked good. It looked exactly like a WWE Elite, and that was really cool to see. So it's cool that they're still in production. I pre-ordered the Sabu uncensored figure, and hopefully that comes out. It's supposed to, I think it was like spring of 2023. So hopefully that's still on track. And then the only other uncensored figure I know they announced was Charlie Haas. So I don't know if they're going to cancel that or continue or wipe the slate clean. I'm not too sure. But I would like to see Cella produce more of the uncensored line, sign some of these guys. I think they would be a good company to do these ECW guys. If WWE doesn't want to make them, then hey, have some other company make them, sign all these wrestlers, start producing figures for them. I think there's a market for it, and I would like to see that. But, let's see Sabu, let's see how he turns out, and then kind of go from there. But I'd like to see Cella Toys. If these are successful and they're good quality, I would like to see them produce more wrestling figures because, hey, I'm a wrestling figure fan. If more companies are making the figures that people want, like I said, Mattel's got a gold mine. If they're not doing that, fuck it. Have another company do it and make money on it. So, I hope that they're on track for the uncensored line. Hopefully they're on track for the Impact Wrestling figures too. I'm really excited for Wave 1, Eddie Edwards, Moose, Jordan Grace, Deonna Purrazzo, and I believe Cella's making MLW figures as well. I don't remember if it's the same company, but I want to see those Impact figures and the uncensored ones. MLW I'm not too familiar with. I would like them just because I like wrestling, but they're kind of at the bottom of the list for me personally as far as of importance. No offense. Hopefully they can get their shit together and 2023 can be a good year for them. Another company I'd like to see produce some more figures, Boss Fight Studios. Their Legends of Lucha Libre premium line. They released, I don't even remember if it was this year. I think it was this year, like early this year, where they released Wave 1, which was Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix. So for this, they have two lines. They have the Lucha Libre, Legends of Lucha Libre premium line, premium collector line, which is like WWE Elite style articulation, stuff like that. And then they have like a basics kind of wave. And I know they've announced a bunch of stuff, and I think it's coming out in 2023, hopefully. But I'm excited to see them do more figures. I really like how the Pentagon and Phoenix turned out. They don't really scale well. They're a little too small compared to the AEW figures and the WWE Mattel figures, but they're really good quality. Hopefully they can kind of adjust for the next few waves, but they have a few more waves announced. I'm just talking about the Elite style figures. So like I said, Wave 1 came out this year. I think it was this year. Pentagon and Phoenix. Wave 2 is supposed to be coming out soon, which is Conan, masked, and a wrestler by the name of Lady Maravilla. I'm not too familiar with her. And then they also announced Wave 3, which is going to be Laredo Kid, Taya Valkyrie, Vampiro, and Tinables Jr. So I would definitely like a Laredo Kid and Tinables Jr., maybe even Vampiro, depending what style makeup they put on him. So hopefully those come out in 2023. And like I said, I was a big fan of Wave 1, just a little too small, but hopefully they can make the adjustments and be a serious competitor for making good wrestling figures. And I like how all these companies are doing something different, You got Cella Toys doing more of the indie guys. You've got Boss Fight Studios, they're focusing more on the lucha guys. And then you got like Super 7 doing the Japan figures. And hopefully we see New Japan Wave 3. Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Super 7 New Japan line. I bought all of Wave 1. I didn't buy Wave 2, just because I was pretty disappointed with how Wave 1 turned out. Cool figures, but not good wrestling figures, if that makes any sense. They're like good collector items. When you think of a wrestling figure, it didn't really fit that what you're looking for. Even though I personally am not a fan of them, and probably wouldn't buy them, to be honest. I just like that they're out there. I like that they're adding to the whole overall wrestling collection. And I don't know if they're going to do Wave 3. There has been, I think, no news at all about a potential Wave 3. I know Super 7s, they're pretty slow on producing figures. They've announced so much stuff. My God. I'm a big fan of their Disney Ultimate line. They got, they're doing a Power Rangers Ultimate series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like Transformers. They've got a ton of brands that they're doing, they're doing figures for. And I don't know if wrestling is going to be one of them going forward. But like I said, I would like to see them do New Japan, or just get another company to do New Japan figures. You know, I like Super 7, but I don't know if wrestling might be their niche. But I would like to see another company step in and do New Japan figures and take that market. Whether it be Super 7 or not, I'd like to see some New Japan figures come out in 2023. I think that would be pretty cool. But then you got, it was recently announced Storm Collectibles. They're doing a Minoru Suzuki figure, which is pretty cool. I probably am not going to buy it. It's cool that it's there, like, for people that want it. Like, I'm more of a fan of the whole, I said it before, ecosystem. Just all these different companies making figures and just building upon that huge wrestling universe, and coming from all different aspects. Like I said, Jazzwares and Mattel doing the more North America, more streamlined, TV people. And then you got Cello Toys doing the indie guys, older veterans, and Boss Fight Studios, Lucha stuff. So if everyone kind of has their hands in the pocket, or hands, what metaphor do I want to use? If everyone's kind of contributing to, we'll use a slice of pizza, or a whole pizza. Everyone's got a slice of the pie. Well, I guess you're taking away from the pie. You're not contributing to the pie because you're taking the slice and you're going to eat it. Whatever, fuck it. That's a shitty metaphor to begin with. But I just like that all these companies are making wrestling figures. Like, at the end of the day, I'm just a fan of wrestling figures. And just seeing all these companies making figures is just super fucking cool. So, yeah. More wrestling figures, the better. As long as they all scale. That's a big thing. If they can all scale with, Mattel and Jazzwares, because those are the biggest lines and their competitors, if they all scale with that, hey, we're good money. Hopefully, a lot of those things that I mentioned come to fruition. A lot of big wants, and I think a lot of them are very doable, especially on WWE's end. I think we can get more Attitude Era guys. Like I said, the guys that work for them already, pump out some figures for them, cut those guys a check. Just one more thing, and I talked about all the figure lines, but something I would like that kind of encompasses all the figure lines is lower prices. My God, some of these figures have just been so jacked up in prices. It's ridiculous. Like, it hurts to buy some sometimes. Like, I don't really buy full price anymore unless it's something I really want. I usually wait for a sale, even if it's a few bucks off. It's something. And especially myself as a Canadian, especially if I buy something, shipping, duties, conversion, my God, like, I'm almost paying double, sometimes 2.5 times more for the figures. So it's just absolutely insane. So I would like to see prices just overall across the board. If we can lower that a little bit, I'm not saying, give it for free, but when you charge $40 for one figure and it's the same figure I bought, the year before, 2 years ago, and there's really nothing new, you're not adding anything, you're still having potentially the same issues, how are you going to justify to me to charge more? It's just fucking insane, and everything's just so expensive now. Food, like everything, housing, it's just fucking crazy. And this is supposed to be a fun thing, a fun little hobby, and when it becomes such a fucking financial nightmare that you gotta really pick and choose what you want, and obviously you should pick and choose, you shouldn't just buy everything. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business for them, and obviously they have to make money. Obviously they have these financial quarterly calls and stuff like that where they talk about money, but like, these companies are all making a shit ton of money, And I feel like you'd probably make more money if the prices were lower. Now we'll see if like 2023, if these prices continue to skyrocket, are people going to stop buying? Are they going to be more picky about what they buy? We'll have to wait to see. That's the biggest thing. If you want to tell these companies to go fuck themselves and like stop charging more, stop buying. That's where it hurts the most financially. If you're not buying the figures, they have to be like, oh wait, what's going on here? Why aren't people buying figures? Is it because they used to be 25 and now they're 45? Could that be the issue? No, it couldn't be that issue. Like, definitely speak with your wallet. It speaks louder than all the words that you can say. But yeah, hopefully prices kind of go down a bit. I don't even know if that's going to happen, to be honest. I think this has kind of become the new norm. And if anything, it's going to become more expensive. So 2023 is going to be an interesting year for figures. We'll have to wait to see. But yeah, as of right now, price-wise, it's not looking too good. 2023 might be very, very rough for my fellow collectors and I. So we'll have to wait to see. But that is going to be it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section your want list. What do you want for 2023? What do you collect? What do you want to see? Is there a specific character you want? Specific, whatever it is, let me know in the comment section. And that is going to be it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Keep up with everything else that's going on the channel. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch me next time. And until then, guys, peace out.